Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be sharing with you my reading wrap up for the Rake meets Bluestocking Readathon. I really enjoyed taking part in this readathon. It's the first one I've taken part in for a really long time and it was so much fun. I got to read a lot of historical romances, which is one of my goals for 2025, to read more. Although I didn't find any brand new absolute 5-star favourites in this readathon, I did still have a really good time, and there are some books on here that I read that I definitely am intrigued to read next books in the series. So it's a win all around in my eyes. I've read way more historical romance than I thought I was going to this month. In terms of what I've read so far this month, historical romance is my top genre of the month, and this was a lot of fun. So without further ado, I'm just going to run through the books that I read. I will put the graphic on the screen of the bingo board that I did with the different prompts. I think I did share it in my last video as well, but I'll put it up here for reminders of what I read, and then I'm just going to run through and share with you the thoughts that I had on these books. So the first book that I read was Mine Till Midnight by Lisa Kleypas. This one I read for the Victorian romance prompt, and I really enjoyed this one. I gave this one 4 stars. This one is the first book in the Hathaway series, which is a series that I've not read from Lisa Kleypas. I've read her Ravenel series and the Wallflower series, and this is her other series that I've got to read. This one we get to see cameos. In this one we get to see cameos of characters from her previous series, so we get to see some of the characters from the Wallflowers, which I really enjoyed seeing. Lisa Kleypas does that quite a lot with her series. They definitely intertwine and we see characters from previous books. In fact, the hero in this book was introduced in one of the previous books. I think it might have been Devil in Winter, but don't quote me on that, but he definitely appeared in one of the previous books. And this one follows the relationship between Amelia and Cam. So this one, as I say, I gave 4 stars to. Now the reason I gave it 4 stars is because this being the first book in the series, we do get to spend a lot of time introducing the other members of the Hathaway family. So there's 5 siblings, I think. Yeah, 5 siblings in total, and each of them are obviously going to have their own book. And in this one we obviously spend a lot of time introducing them. We get to see their different personalities, and that is why I think I gave it, or that is why I gave it 4 stars, because we didn't get to spend as much time with the main couple, because we are getting a lot of setup, which I did really appreciate. And as I say, we get to see cameos from characters from previous books, which I did enjoy. What I'm really excited for is the romance that is teased in this book, which is going to be the romance for book 2. So the romance in book 2 is going to be Mary Penn and Winifred's romance, and we get to see teasers of that in this book. And that has made me so excited for book 2. I think book 2 is going to be fantastic. I really, really hope it is, at least. And I cannot wait to pick up the next one. I'm definitely going to be reading the rest of this series for sure. The next book that I read was Duke Most Wicked by Lenora Bell. So this is my first Lenora Bell book that I've read, and sadly I didn't love it. So nearly dropped it. So I read this for the prompt Duke in the title. I'm just looking at my phone because I've got my list down here of what prompts they fit into. So this was for Duke in the title, and I gave this one 3 stars. So this one, the premise of this one is we follow Viola, who is the Duke's sister's music teacher, and she is very attracted to the Duke. That is quite apparent. He's you know, very attractive, and she has a bit of a crush on him. We see that at the beginning of the book. The Duke has a bit of a bad boy reputation, but he decides to kind of settle down a bit to ensure that his sisters have husbands and are married off, and he decides to find himself a wealthy wife because he's spent a lot of their fortune gambling and drinking and all that sort of thing. And he decides that he's going to marry an American heiress, and it ends up being the relationship between the Duke and the music teacher. And I felt that their relationship was very much a physical relationship, which there is nothing wrong with that, but I didn't really feel that they had an emotional connection. As I say, the music teacher, Viola, is attracted to him very early on, and he also notices that she is attractive, but I didn't really feel that the relationship stemmed much further than physical attraction. I did like seeing the Viola's relationships with his sisters. I thought that was really good, and they were very close friends, and she was a bit more than a music teacher. She was more of a friend to them, and I think if we had seen further into the Duke and Viola's relationship in terms of after they'd married, I think that would have been quite interesting, because as I say, I think she would have made a really good stepmother figure. But we didn't really see that. We definitely saw the starting point of the relationship rather than the end. So that's why I gave this one 3 stars, because the romance for me wasn't quite there. I do still think that I will read other Lenora books, but I don't know if I'm necessarily going to be into a big rush to go out and pick up the next one. This one's actually book 3 in the series as well, but you can definitely read this series out of order, as you can with the majority of historical romance series. You can usually get away with reading them out of order. So the next book that I listened to was The Silent Duke by Jess Michaels. So I read this one, and this fit the prompts of audiobook, Georgian romance, and Rake Appreciation Society winter pick. And it will also fit the prompt for main character with a disability. So in this book we see our main character, male character Ewan, who is a duke, and he is mute. He's always been mute from childhood, and it is his relationship with Charlotte. So is it Charlotte? Yeah, Charlotte. I'm pretty sure it's Charlotte. Now I'm questioning. I'm terrible with remembering the names, but I'm pretty sure, 99% sure that it's Charlotte. And so his family disowns him when he is a child because of his mutism. They think he's stupid and not very intelligent and not fit to inherit the dukedom. But Charlotte sees through that, and she and him have a very close friendship when they are children, and they in fact have their own way of talking to each other. They talk essentially in sign language, which other people do not understand, and it is their romance. She has always been attracted to Ewan, and she is widowed, and it's set during Christmas time, and she goes to his house along with her family for the Christmas holiday, but because of flooding, the rest of the family doesn't make it to the house, so she gets to spend time alone with Ewan, and she really wants to convince him to marry her, but he does not want to marry her, not because he's not attracted to her or in love with her, but because he doesn't want her to have to suffer the whisperings that she might face because of his disability. I really enjoyed this one and thought that it was well done. However, I don't know if I said the rating, but I gave this one 4 stars. However, there is a bit towards the end where this kind of action just kind of appears almost out of nowhere, which I did felt a little bit disjointed in comparison to the rest of the story. So that's why I didn't give it a full 5 stars. I did really enjoy the romance, but as I say, there was like a side plot that kind of almost came out of nowhere, which I didn't love. But overall it was a good read. I have read from Jess Michaels before, and I would definitely read from her again. This one is, I think, the 4th book in a series, or if not the 4th, the 3rd book. It's like in the middle of the series, so I would definitely go back and read the rest of the books in the series. I think the other books follow other dukes that have this kind of friendship group, which we do kind of see these dukes mentioned in the book, but you can definitely get away with not having read the other books in this series for sure. Then I finished reading The Scandal of Rose by Joanna Shoup. This is a short novella and fit the prompts of released in 2024 and set in America. This one is also available on Kindle Unlimited. And this one I liked, but I didn't love. I've read other Joanna Shoup's books before, and I've enjoyed them a lot more than this one, so I gave this one 3.5. So this one is a mistress romance. So we have a very wealthy man, Moore Emerson. He is a rich American, and we have Rose O'Donoghue, who is an actress, and he takes a shine to her, and she becomes his mistress. And as it is a novella, there is a lot of steamy scenes in the novella, and it is their romance. However, again, this one had more of a physical relationship, and they did start falling for each other, but because of the novella length, the emotional side didn't obviously come through as much. I would have maybe liked to have seen this one as a full length novel. I think it would have worked maybe better as a full length, but I did like it for what it was. It is a short, relatively steamy historical romance, so if that is what you're looking for, then I would recommend this. But overall, it wasn't necessarily the most memorable story, and I think there are better Joanna Shupe books out there, but I did like it for what it was. Then I read The Rake Mistake by Erica Ridley, which I read for the prompt contains a rake. So this one it focused a bit too much on the mystery side of things, if I can call it that. So in this one we follow a main character, and she's got a group of Bluestocking friends who, one of the girls comes into their book club meeting and says that her hairpin has been stolen by this notorious rake, and they plot to kind of get it back, and the Winchesters are involved. This is a spin-off of the Winchester series, and they plot to try and get this hairpin back from this rake. And this one I gave 3 stars to. I thought it was a fun short read, but nothing really stand out, nothing really memorable. This one I picked up for free off of Amazon at some point. I'm not sure if it is still free, but worth checking, because I know she often does do some of her books for free on Amazon. But this one, it was, as I say, it was just okay, but nothing really too memorable. I did feel that this one focused more on the mystery side of things rather than romance. And then lastly, I read The Duke's Sister and I by Emma Claire Sunday, and I read this for the LGBTQ plus character. This one is an FF romance, and I did really enjoy this one. So in this one we follow, I think it was Loretta, and this one might also have been called Charlotte as well, but Loretta is set to marry Charlotte's sister. No, she's not. Loretta is set to marry Charlotte's brother, the Duke, but she ends up being more attracted to his sister, Charlotte. And Charlotte also has her own secret. She paints these pictures but everyone thinks it's a man that paints them, and she is very much aware of her identity and who she is attracted to. And she very much opens Loretta's eyes up to this other side of the world that she has not been brought up to obviously think of. You know, at this time, being gay was not accepted. It wasn't legal. So very much had to keep their feelings hidden. And this one is a romance, but there is obviously a more kind of, because of the time period that it's set, there is obviously feelings of, you know, they have to keep it hidden. There is a lot of talk that this relationship can't like last and won't work, and the characters have that discussion in terms of, we're going to have our fun now, but this cannot be anything more because of the time period. I feel like it was quite accurately written for the time period in terms of the struggles that people would have had. But at times you did think, are these characters going to have a happy ending? Because yes, it's a romance, so we expect a happy ending, but at times it did read like these characters are not going to get together at the end. But they did, and I did enjoy it, and I would be interested to read more from this author in the future, for sure. If I didn't say it, I gave this one 4 stars. So these are the 6 books that I read for this readathon, and I had a really good time. And there are definitely some new to me authors on here. So Emma Claire Sunday is one that I'm going to keep an eye out for. Jess Michaels is one that I have read from before and would like to continue to read from. And I'm definitely going to go back and read the rest of the series. As I say, the Hathaway series, I'm really excited for book 2. So you will probably see it in future TBR videos. And yeah, I had a really good time, and I had a good time reading the books that I read. Yes, I didn't have any 5-star reads, but the ones that I did read, I feel were solid reads. I've cleared some from my Kindle, I've cleared some from my TBR, so I think it was a really good readathon. I hope that you also enjoyed reading. If you took part in this readathon, I hope you found some favourites, and if you have any historical romance recommendations, then please do share them with me, because I'm always on the lookout for new ones. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you guys in my next video. Bye!